Right, so I'm going to try and make a spare panel for the truck, and I want it to look like a new old stock. So what I've got, as I've used loads in this video, the takeaway tray. So it's aluminium but really thin. You will get it, I've cut a bit off and it's got the pattern and the texture in it, so you don't really want that. So what I'll do is take a little stick, I don't know what these are for, like skewers or something like that, and just roll it out and flatten the sheet best you can to try and remove that pattern. Now most of it's gone, but I'm left with a little bit, which, because it's so thin, it's really hard to get it perfectly flat. But that's kind of the best I can get. So now we've got kind of a smooth bit of aluminium. Give it a couple of rolls on the other side, just lightly, see if I can get it to straighten out. Right. Now we take it over to the car and rest it over the wing. It's a little bit tricky at first because it'll slide around, but you basically want to do the same thing and just start imprinting the area you want. With the wheel arch, if you push down and against the shape, the aluminium will only stretch so far. So at some point it's going to give. There you go, it's just broken through. So when it does give, you can then keep that going around the wheel arch. And it's pretty much cut it. So I'll take the scissors and trim it. And it is as delicate as it looks. Right, we've kind of got this shape at the moment, but it's not quite right. So now, oh, you can see that in a lip from the wheel arch, which is quite nice to have that. So now we put it back on the car, which it should kind of slot into place because of the wheel arch. And then we can start to manipulate the rest of the wing into shape. Now the aluminium stretches a little, but it won't shrink. So when you get to these double curves at the end, this is what you'd be in real life using a shrinker for, or a shrinker die on a power hammer. But you can't quite get it to shrink, so you have to keep pushing it and you may end up with a couple of crinkles. But we're going for like a bit of a dented, not perfect kind of wing anyway, so I'm not going to get too over the top with it. Oh, it's so delicate, it's just, there we go, it's back on. Now there's that indicator recess there, so I'm just going to use the edge of my nail to try and define that a bit more. And I'm assuming you could do this with the door, the bonnet, anything really. Door would be tricky because you're going to have to get that window pillar as well. Right, just try and drag that down, but you are going to get those crinkles, like I said, because this is just not shrinkable. Try and find that edge line. There we are. There's the edge line for the panel gap. You can define that one. And then there's a shape here as well in the wing. So define that one with a nail as well. Right, and then we are left with, if I can pop it off, a very delicate little wing pressing, but we have got all these crinkles and stuff, but you wouldn't have that much on it, because if you have a look at the panel gap, it's a very thin edge to it anyway. So now what we do is trim it close to the panel line. And then along the top. Just to kind of try and replicate how big that panel would have actually been. Right, we've got a bit of a mess down the bottom corner here. And we've also got that panel gap which is now too big. So what we do now is identify that panel gap from the other side and start rolling it this way while bending it inwards, pushing along that edge. To try and create a little fold for the wing on the inside. Right, we'll also tidy that up a little bit, so if you pop that down like this, you can use your stick then to attempt. It's hard because you don't want to crush the panel that you're holding, so you can't hold it too tight, but if you don't, it's not going to work. So you've got to be a bit delicate with it, which is a bit annoying. And just try and flatten some of that shape out. Feels a little bit like tiny panel beating. Obviously you're going to be left with some crinkles and things, but you're just doing the best you can just to try and tidy it up. Right, and then just going to trim that edge. It's a little bit chunky for the scale. And that. Tidy up that bottom part as well. Just give that edge a little bit of a smooth out. And then we should have a tiny little wing. So there we go. We've got a tiny little wing, which I think, like, I know a lot of there's a lot of guys out there that modify these miniatures on model kits and things. So they like customize it, wide arches and over fenders and all sorts of stuff. I think this might be a good way of adding modifications, because instead of replicating the same wing, you could have rolled out some wide arches and stuff. So it might help with modifications, but I'm using it as a way to have a new old stock wing as part of a diorama. So I paint it primer, paint it black, scuff it down a little bit, and then we got a new old stock wing, which looks cool as part of the diorama. Still needs rusting, but yeah, there you go, there's the idea. Alright, so these are the wings after painting. I can now stick them on the diorama. I've gone one white wing which has been absolutely battered with rot and completely rusted through, and then another one which is like a new old stock. So it's kind of together, but it's been left out in the rain and abused, but not quite as bad as the other one. I didn't film the painting, but I actually think it's gone quite well. I'm quite proud of it, to be honest, because I'm still quite new to it. I think that's quite cool. So I'm gutted I didn't film it now, but yeah, we'll pop them on the diorama.